Maybe that's one question that they also came to my mind when I watched the video that you put on about the interview, training in Timothy churches.
Yeah.
How do you like? Let's say you've done a training church, and let's say you've been going through the commands, the lessons, and then you have some people that you think like, wow, they're like, these are the guys, and I would like to have them in the Timothy church. How do you bring them there? I guess what I'm saying is, okay, how do you communicate it to, like, okay, you want to have those good guys with you to form this more close team.
Yep. All right.
And
That's a
for
great.
example, do you say it in the beginning, like, okay, I'm gonna train you and you're gonna learn how to share your own churches, and if you really liked it, you're really into it, and you can stay with me for a longer time? Or?
I wouldn't do that. Here's what I do. All right. So we're in the apostolic speedboat and we're planting churches. All right. So here's a church. Here's another church we're planting. Plant another church. So this is what you've been doing, sharing the gospel, trying to plant churches, okay? In the meantime, some of these churches fail, right? So we learned a new word. It's called evaporate. They didn't like die, so they used the term evaporate. So the church evaporates, all right? So but some of them are limping along, some of them are doing good. In the meantime, you identify these key leaders in these churches. And so when you identify those folks, they may or may not be successful in planting the next church. Like, for instance, maybe you identified this guy in this church that evaporated. Well, now what it's time to do is pull these guys. We, in a traditional setting, we would have called this a leadership meeting or a leadership team. I don't want to call it that. I want to call it a Timothy church because it is. It's not a leadership meeting. I want to model for these Timothys what we're going to actually do. So I'm going to pull all these Timothys into a Timothy church. And we're going to meet on a regular basis, but they're still going to lead their churches. Now, this guy, his church died, right? Or evaporated. So this poor guy is out there isolated all by himself, and he's trying to make it run. And essentially, I did this with you online. How do you keep these guys encouraged when all their churches are evaporating? Well, you make sure that they're in a Timothy church, right? And so this guy hangs out in the Timothy church for as long as it takes him to find that or to plant his own church. And so he's staying encouraged. And in the meantime, he's still out there in the harvest trying to plant a church. And this is really helpful for the guys that, they just can't buy a disciple for a long time. But they're still in there, they're still learning, and they're still being encouraged. So I wouldn't go into a situation where I say, okay, you guys, if you do good, I'm going to pull you into a Timothy church. I wouldn't say any of that to them. I just wait until you identified the Timothy. And if you already have a Timothy church going, now it's easy to pull them back as they keep training their people. If you don't have a Timothy church, then you start one. and begin to meet with these Timothys in the context of church.